I would say family or friends or any kind of business partner relationship. The best thing, I would say the best thing that you can do, and is the hardest to do, is to communicate.
Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Just sit back, relax, and learn from the leaders of today. It's a journey. Each one is different, unique, inspiring. Let's get started. 20-Minute Leaders is a proud supporter of Make-A-Wish Israel and Tech to Peace, and is in proud collaboration with Secret Chord Ventures, J Ventures, Riverside FM, Fusion VC, Birthright Excel, J Impact, Leap, Google for Startups, and Hippo, and in media partnership with CTech. Hello and welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Today I'm with Brandi Marek. Brandi spent most of her career in management and leadership roles at Magnolia Gardens Nursery, a family business with over 150 employees. As a next-generation family member in a family-owned business, Brandi understands the delicate and at times challenging situations that can face family businesses. Brandi has experience developing strategic plans, leading departments, and managing capital expenses. She is comfortable with complicated financials and the nuances of organizational structure. However, her passion lies with the people. Organizations excel when the people within them thrive, and Brandi is driven to bring out the best in people. I'm really excited to have you here. You might see me look down from time to time. I'm taking notes on my notebook. I found that it helps me learn.
I might as well. I always learn something new.
I'm in the listening seat right now, and so thank you for being here. Today we're going to be talking about your own journey, but also family businesses in general. And like I mentioned to you, I know very little about, the complexities and challenges that arise in family businesses. I may be able to postulate some of them, but you're going to share with me your own perspective with myself and the audience. And so even before we get to that, Brandi, how are family businesses intertwined in your own life as a part of your own career?
Well, it's two different ways now, but it all started when I started working in my husband's family business about 15 years ago. It's a wholesale nursery, so it grows out plant material for large commercial landscapers and also retail garden centers, things like that. And then we also have a tissue culture lab that help plant breeders bring plant genetics to the market. So that's where I got my start. But I'm now a family business advisor with Ferguson Alliance, and we help family businesses. So think either businesses that are owned by a family or operated by a family, or just a privately held business. So we don't work with anybody that is in any kind of private equity or anything like that. So we help family businesses figure out what's next. As you mentioned, it's very complex. It can be very nuanced. And you say that you don't know much about it. So I'll just say the next time you're like either planning a vacation with your family or maybe the holidays or something like that. Now just imagine that's what you do every day and it's to generate revenue for your well-being. And then you will better understand how complex and complicated it can be trying to navigate challenges like that with your family. It's fun. It can be very fun, but it is so personal. And so it gets very challenging at times. So,
right. I mean, I'm just, you're leaving me pondering, I just got back from a month with my family abroad. And so I'm already, the wheels are flying. Emotional, personal, revenue, business, all those words combined, it's sort of like taking this old adage, don't mix business and pleasure, but just like ripping it apart and saying, no, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Tell me a little bit about, first of all, motivations for doing that. What are the different circumstances that we find around the world, families engaging in this behavior? And then we'll get into some of the more challenges and how we can start resolving these difficult challenges that I'm clueless right now about.
Well, just as it is in my example, and then also in every client that I've worked with, it all starts with someone having a vision, right? They either have an idea that is going to dramatically improve life or a product that's going to improve life, something they feel passionate enough about that they take the risk of opening up a business. That's always how it starts. They feel passionate about something and they want to provide for the greater good. They want to provide for their family. They want to provide for other people's families. So it all starts, all of our clients have these amazing starter stories of how they began. And then those founders go and they have children and they all have this dream that their kids are going to want to carry on their legacy and their business. And so that's where it begins. It always is founded in something amazing.
So how much of the time do you find a family business took place as a part of a family business rather than a regular business because it made sense logistically and financially versus it came from sort of an inner dream or passion that the founders had?
I would say most of them are passion driven. Now we do have a few clients who really recognized an opportunity and seized it, and they are a little more like separated from the emotional aspect of the business. But that's again, and even still, as I think about those clients, that's what they say. But I would challenge them that actually there really still is some passion. There's passion, there's pride in it. You started something from nothing and you have created something that is generating wealth for not only yourself, but for the other people that work with and for you.
Sure. That makes a lot of sense. And so going back to the different challenges and complexities, can we even break them down even more? So obviously we have the big umbrellas of emotional, personal, etc. Let's break them down into how they come to place in the real world.
Absolutely. So a lot of times what will happen is, and this is how we start off with all of our clients. We talk about being a business first family, or we talk about being a family first business. And so the differences between those are when you're a business first family, you're going to take all of your family stuff, you're going to put it aside, and you're going to recognize that when you're talking about the business needs are going to come first. So if it's important to you as the owner of the business and as the president of the business that your son then carries on that role, regardless of their training, expertise, experience, that's going to be a family first approach. You're going to be putting the interest of the family first. But if you're taking a business first approach to that, you're going to say, look, you have the opportunity to get this role, but you're going to need to have the experience for it as well. You're going to need to have the qualifications for it. So we start there. And so there's no right or wrong, right? Because the family
that was my next question, right?
To live in their truth. The family needs to live in their truth. We do have clients where they do take the family first approach. That's often usually for like a lifestyle business. They're just looking to maintain their lifestyle. It's less important to them that the business has any kind of compounded revenue or anything like that. Growth for the business is not as important as steady state and maintaining a lifestyle for the business owners. Oftentimes, though, our clients do go the business first route. And so that then those complications that you speak of that start to come up are direction of the business. Sometimes it's generational. There is some disparity between, the two generations about where should the business go next? What's going to be the next big thing? How are we going to maintain our growth? What are the customers wanting? What's next? That's a huge one. And so then it can also be communication. Communication can be a big issue because you develop patterns of communicating within your family as you grow up, right? And it's hard to break out of those, kind of boxes that we put each other in when we're 12. And then when you're 30, it can be very challenging for people to see their family members different. And I've kind of, I remember getting very frustrated, and I don't know another way to describe us, but I would get frustrated when someone would refer to us as like the kids. And it's like, oh, well, gosh, like we're old enough to have our own kids now. So like when do we, so it at times can be very trivial and seem very, I don't know, petty when you're talking to anyone else, but it's like that feeling of you want to be your own person and you want to change. You want to be able to have the ability to change. And so communicating in those different spaces can be really hard, really hard.
That makes a lot of sense. And so you did mention that there is no right or wrong and every family has to live its truth. But now that we're all data driven, right? And we can look at some case studies and examples. What have you found to be more resilient to, I guess, more of the emotional and personal conflicts that are probably some of the most significant challenges that emerge here? Which approach on a higher, more generic level do you find results in less of these clashes?
So definitely, I would have to say, I think that I'm thinking about a couple of different things, but I think that the number one thing that we see the most often has the best results is that when people are open to change, when they are not approaching the situation just as like, I'm right, you're wrong, this is why. But when they're truly open to exploring what's different. And that's a conversation that we have with clients all the time, especially like in our, when a client's trying to determine if they would like to work with us, we try to be very open and honest in that it is a challenging process. And you do have to be willing to do the work and be open to changing your mind. Certainly we recognize that we can't change anyone. That's not what we're out to do. But if you're going into the process with a predetermined outcome, it's likely not going to work.
Sure. 100%.
So I would say that's the number one thing. And I can't think of a client where we have that across the board. My personal experience wasn't like that. My father-in-law, so I don't know if I mentioned this yet or not, but we were a client of Ferguson Alliance before I joined Ferguson Alliance. And my father-in-law sought them out. And I remember thinking, I don't have time for this. I don't have time to like incorporate some other meeting into my week. We don't need that. We know everything that we need to do. Why aren't we just doing that? Why do we need somebody? And I probably took that stance for the first probably 3 months that we started our engagement. But slowly over time, I was like, oh, well, I'm really starting to realize there's a lot that I don't know. And I didn't know what I didn't know. And so that's not unusual because that was me for sure. And so there is a process. There is just a period of time where you're kind of trying, like everyone's trying to get aligned and figure it out. And so, yeah, never has it been everyone full on and ready.
What happened in your journey that led you to transition into the advising side after going through perhaps the experience yourself?
Yeah, that's a great question. Because I really feel like it's important to also note too that in the process, you should ask yourself like what you truly want. And what I truly wanted while I was all on board for a business first family, I wanted a family first family. And so I said, the best way for me to do that is to separate out where all of my energy is going. And so I really wanted to step outside of my operational duties within the family business. And then in doing that, I got the wonderful opportunity that Ferguson Alliance wanted to have me join their team. And I'm very grateful for that. And I love, love, love that I get to help people that are like me, because it's not something that is very well understood. And it, from the outside looking in, when you're working in a family business, it can look very glamorous and very glorious. And everyone thinks that like, well, you can just leave and go and do whatever you need to do whenever you need to do it. Like, who's going to stop you? Like, what are they going to say?
Yeah.
And sure, you can run to the doctor like when you need to go, but also when it's 8:30 p.m. on a Friday night and everyone has work the furthest away from their mind, it never leaves you as a family member, as a business owner. It's always there. Like, it never leaves. And so it just takes a different degree of understanding and a special type of person to understand that. And so I love having the ability to be able to be that person for somebody, because it is so needed.
That's really, really cool. And it sounds like you obviously are getting such a jolt of energy from this work. What do you think, anybody who's not even necessarily a family business, but anybody working with family members or good friends, and I'm now, classifying those under a similar category. What are some things that we can be thinking about more tangibly as we're going through this journey?
Yes, I would say family or friends or any kind of business partner relationship. The best thing that you can do, and is the hardest to do, is to communicate. And if you are bothered by something and it's still so small, and then your default is to just overlook it, let me tell you, all those small things pile up into big things. And then 3, 4, 5 years down the road, when you just cannot haul that giant pile of little things around anymore, it's so much more challenging to articulate why you can't, rather than just getting it out there, taking the practice, having the hard conversation when they are small, allowing yourself that ability to pivot continually to where you're not getting comfortable in these grooves. And then when it really is time that you have to do something, it's that much more challenging because you do not have the practice on how to have the hard conversations. And then you're trying to have one big conversation about 100 little things. It's so much harder.
Right.
So much harder. So I would just say, yeah, if there was things that I could go back and do differently, it'd be that. That's still, no one likes confrontation. No one likes hard conversations. And then compound it with, this is somebody that you love dearly. And so it makes it even harder, but just do it. You will be better for it. You will be stronger for it. It doesn't seem like it in a lot of situations, but you really, really will.
What are the benefits of working with family members, friends, and then perhaps obviously it may be more fun at times, but are there some significant benefits that you see as you see organizations working with people who they know for many, many years?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I would say the benefits far outweigh the challenges if you are working it right, because again, the benefits of it can be that you do know each other so well, and you can play into that, and you can pivot. Like I was talking about pivoting, but you can do it so much easier and quicker than, say, if you were just working in a 9-to-5 or working for like a corporation or something like that. Oftentimes we see this in all of our clients, and it was the same in my organization. Everyone there feels like family. You're creating this family culture where everyone feels like that, regardless of if they are actually family or even friends of you. Everyone feels that, and everyone feels like they have a place and a space to be more than just the task that they're carrying out. And I would say that's the greatest thing about it, is that you can actually make everyone feel like they're an entrepreneur within your organization. Everyone can feel like, I mean, I remember like onboarding so many people in our organization and them just being amazed. Like my father-in-law would be walking around, like asking them questions and really taking their input seriously. And people were just so like thankful and amazed by that. And that's just such a small thing. In the big scheme of things, I mean, that's so tiny, but the impact is so huge that people just feel purposeful by saying like, hey, I think, what if we did it this way instead of this way? And
I love it.
I think that that's amazing. And I think that that's great. And, not having so much of that bureaucracy that can come with, well, I need to ask my manager, and then they need to ask their manager, and then we have to get it approved up here. And, by the time you hear back on it, you've lost your steam on it. You've got another problem that you've got another solution for that you're like, well, what's the point? How am I'm going to have to wait a month to hear back. And so
Right.
I think it creates an amazing energy where people can feel part of something bigger than just their paycheck.
I love that. That's really, really cool. Brandi, thank you so much for coming on. This was such an enjoyable time. Wishing you best of luck with the rest of your journey. And thank you for the positive impact you're making on people and family businesses. And thank you again for joining me. This was great.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me. Truly, I love talking about this. So I'm very thankful for the opportunity.
Perfect. Thank you.